I thought, you know what, even though I didn't make the top 10, I'd throw something together just to have fun, see if I could do it and play along with the others. This one is going to be my most expensive project I've done in quite a while. I think the last project that I did that was somewhere close to the ballpark of this project was probably my mostly printed CNC machine. Let's have a look and see what we got. First off, we've got the Flexi dip. Next up, we have the Raspberry Pi 3. We're going with the Model B, not the B Plus this time. Everyone knows what that looks like. That guy there. Let's see what else we got here in the box. We've got, what's this guy here? This is the Kuman 3.7 volt Raspberry Pi Power Pack version 1.2. Next we have the Kuman Arcade DIY kit. Now I went with this kit just because I wanted an arcade feel. And yes, it comes with a ton of buttons and all sorts of stuff here. Now, I wanted to check out this joystick, and you know what? That's actually a decent size. And it's got the USB board here, which will plug directly into the Raspberry Pi. And all the cables for connecting, all the buttons. And then finally, we have the 7-inch Kuman LCD display. Now it only does 800 by 480. That's fine with me because it's an actually really nice looking display inside here. We got the display disc there. We've got HDMI cable, power cable, and then the 7-inch display. And that's pretty nice looking. So I want to make sure this powers up, and it's going to work with the Raspberry Pi. And then we'll go ahead and start making the case, the controller, everything for it. And we'll go from there and see what happens. But this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love it. This will be great. Only using a 16 gig memory card for this project. That is it for this unboxing of all my toys to go into my Raspberry Pi Port-A-Cade. I have no idea what to call this thing yet. It'll come to me once I have everything figured out. I've never made a portable gaming device like this. My goal here on this build is not to make the smallest machine possible. This is for that arcade feel. Now we've got our micro SD card with our Berry boot installed on it, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get everything set up here so we can give it a test, check out the LCD display, because basically if that doesn't work, I'm done with this project. So we have it all connected up. I have the HDMI hooked up to the screen. Currently I'm running it off the Raspberry Pi Power Pack. Just because it was what I had right here, and I wanted to make sure that everything was working. So now that we have that, I'm just going to go ahead and configure the Pi. I'm sure my camera's not doing it complete justice at the moment, but okay, RetroPie, yes, we will boot. We'll have a look here. So now it's loading up here. And there we go. We have the RetroPie logo. And it looks good. Oh, I'm quite happy with that. On this build, everything you could build yourself. If you're good at woodworking, 3D printing, you can make your own case and design any way you like. So keep that in mind. It's up to you and your creativity of what you build. One saying that I always say is anyone can put a line on a piece of paper. It's what they see that line being is another story. So use your imagination and come up with your own designs. That's the main thing. Try to do something that no one else has done. And that's what my goal and intentions of this video is to prove. That you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. You can use similar products, but make it your own. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get started on designing my case because I got my work cut out for me. When it came down to it, I wanted to make my project out of wood, not realizing it was going to be a lot more work trying to keep it smaller than I thought it would be. Originally, what I thought I would do was I thought I'd drill a hole into 2x6 and then use a jigsaw and cut it out so it made a nice middle insert for my case. That really was not the case. It was a lot more work than I thought. I was using a really old jigsaw. So it took me a good long time to get that cut out, and by the time I was done, I looked at it. And as you can tell with how round this piece that came out was, you can imagine how much cleanup was involved. So what I decided to do was use my bandsaw that I had sitting in the box for no reason. I thought I would use that and just cut into it and just clean it up properly and call it good. So that's exactly what I did. So as you can see here is the finished frame. Now it's 400 millimeters wide. It is a 2x6. The only thing about using a 2x6 like this is if you don't have a thickness planer, you're probably going to get a round bevel around the board, which is kind of annoying. So ultimately I'm not too happy with this, but I'm going to make it work. So my idea of using wood and trying to handcraft it more with, well, I guess with power tools and whatever I had, but not using my CNC machine for this project was a test for me. I want to see how good of a product I could build with just stuff that everyone would have. Because not everyone has a 3D printer and not everyone has a CNC machine. But they have a jigsaw, they have drills, and so forth and so on. Took some MDF and made my top panel. So basically I have the 8-button controller configuration here. And if this joystick hole looks a little bit funny, there is a reason for that. And that's just due to the sizing of the case and the plate for it. And I probably could have brought it over just a little bit. That was a little miscalculation on my part. But with the insert on top of it, you're not even going to be able to tell that I messed that up. Other than that, the LCD screen will fit in here. I do have a little bit more cleanup work to do on this. And then the buttons all do work. Now I did mill out the inside here for around the LCD screen, and basically the LCD screen will sit in here, and then the top of or the middle section here will actually hold the screen flush in place there, so it's not going to move around. And there will be no issues there. The touch digitizer on it does stick up a little bit, which I was hoping to get a nice flush on the top, but not the end of the world. It still looks good. So yeah, I got a little bit more cleanup there to do. I have my plywood bottom plate that I'm going to be using. What I'm going to do is on the side of the case here, where I cut into the board with the bandsaw here, as you can tell, it comes apart there. I am going to actually cut a section out here, and I'm going to make a panel there which will house the audio jack, the USB charge port, anything that I would think that I would like to have accessible on a panel will be in that port. If I do find that I do need a fan, I will, make, another fan port or something. I do believe I have a ton of these little fans here, which I've used on previous Raspberry Pis that have been running for years and years. So it's something. Now that I've completed the case design here, it's time to find out and see if all the pieces will fit inside the case. I'm going to start soldering up all the components and placing the boards where they need to be. I did have one issue, and that was with my tray. As you can see, it's a lot smaller than probably previously. I've had to go with using the feet here, and I'm going to just glue those onto the bottom board for now. I designed the case without keeping in mind the micro USB port, as well as the distance from the USB ports here to the edge of the case. Now that we have the power all soldered in, my 3D print, as you can tell, is not as perfect as it should have been, but that's absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solder up the audio jack here now, and then I will solder up the power jack. I'm going to have to replace this switch on here with this one here. I might see if I can bypass it by adding just the wires to each connection. Okay, so there we go. So now I have the power switch on the power pack turned on. As you can see, the power light's on. Now if I use the switch that's on the case and switch it to off, now the light goes out. Here we go. Let's turn it on and see how it does. So one thing I ended up doing was I did remove RetroPie, and we are now going with Recal box. Well, I still have to load it up with some of my games here. I'll just play around with the ones that are already pre-installed on it, just because I have to hunt down some ROMs that I have of actual physical copies of games. The build was fun to do. I definitely would love to build another one in the future. Redesign this one. Next time I would probably do the whole thing either with CNC or 3D print. I installed this one simply because RetroPie did not want to cooperate with me, and basically none of the menus I could go into. I don't know if it's due to the model of the Raspberry Pi I'm using or what the deal was, but it made it so that I couldn't use it. So I decided, you know what, let's try this one out and see how it is. This one also has Kodi built in, which is great if you want to, you know, watch a movie or, you know, stream, you know, your favorite YouTube channels on it as well when you're not playing it, then great. Did have to redesign the inside quite a bit throughout the process from what my initial plan was to what it is now. But that being said, that's just the way learning is. You play by trial and error. So I redesigned it. I have a couple pictures of that. I will definitely be posting those up. I'll probably put them in here, put them somewhere here, whatever. You'll see them here in the video. Thank you for watching, everyone. You have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and take care, eh? We'll see you next time.